Steph, do you have any current update on Caitlin's back or how she's doing right now?
No current update.
There was a clip of a play where she got pushed in the neck during the game. Have you seen that? Did that have any impact on her health in this one?
I just saw it. I'm not sure if it had any impact on the health or her health or not. But it was egregious. The fact that it was a no call. I heard about it at halftime. I brought it to the attention of the official.
Pay close attention to that moment. After watching the video of Alyssa Thomas shoving Caitlin Clark in the throat during the game, how did Stephanie White react? She suddenly recognizes Caitlin's name. She is suddenly furious over the officiating. All of a sudden, she is defending her celebrity. But this is what makes the moment so illuminating. Throughout the entire season, where was this energy? When Caitlin was being mauled game after game without receiving a response from her head coach, where was this passion? Following the Fever's overtime loss against the Connecticut Sun, this press conference took place. May 14, 2024. And we're witnessing either sincere indignation or the most practical diversion in WNBA coaching history.
We still had 11 fouls in the fourth quarter to their 2. They still shot 24 free throws in the second half.
All right, now it sounds like you're trying to blame the free throws for you losing. No, why don't you explain why you pulled Caitlin Clark out at the end of the first when she was cooking? The girl had 13. She had it rolling. Why did you take her out? Why don't you explain why you pulled Caitlin Clark at the end of the second when the girl was cooking? Caitlin Clark had it rolling and you kept pulling her out. But Kelsey Mitchell was able to play 19 out of the 20 minutes in the first half. Why did you keep subbing Caitlin Clark out? Maybe that played a part into...
There it is. Indiana had 11 fouls in the fourth quarter compared to Connecticut's 2. Stephanie White is blaming the refs for the Suns' 24 free throws in the second half. Let's discuss what she isn't saying, though. By the end of the first quarter, Caitlin Clark had scored 13 points. She was preparing food. The Sun was unable to respond to her. Then, with 2 minutes remaining in the quarter, Stephanie White pulled her out of the game. Before halftime, White removed Clark once again when she returned in the second and began to heat up once more. In the first half, Kelsey Mitchell played 19 of the 20 minutes. Therefore, White is willfully ignoring her own rotation choices that killed their momentum when they had Connecticut on the ropes when she claims that the officiating cost them the game.
We still had 11 fouls in the fourth quarter to their 2. They still shot 24 free throws.
You're going to talk about that, the free throws. Okay, you gave up nearly 60% shooting on defense. You're supposed to be a defensive coach. You're trying to use Caitlin Clark's situation to cover up for that. You're trying to use Caitlin Clark's situation to cover up for that. You chose to run 5-6 straight plays for Kelsey Mitchell when Caitlin Clark is cooking. You trying to cover up for that. Come on now, come on.
She is now discussing the differential in free throws and the fouls. Furthermore, she is correct that the officiating has been inconsistent. It was disgusting to push Caitlin in the throat. It ought to have been examined. It ought to have been termed. Here's the issue with making it your main justification, though. In that game, Indiana's defensive shooting percentage was close to 60%. 60%. Stephanie White's reputation as a defensive-minded coach was established during her career. She was expressly brought back to Indiana to address their defensive problems. And her defense utterly collapsed at this game's most crucial moments. In overtime and the fourth quarter, the Suns scored at will. The referees are not responsible for that. That's execution and on.
Second half, number one, you got to call it. It's absolutely egregious and utterly disrespectful.
I agree. Now, what she's about to say about Caitlin Clark, I agree with. I just feel like she's trying to use Caitlin Clark to cover up for her coaching mishaps as well.
And then number two, you're coming in here aware of what happened 2 nights ago, and that shit still happens? Absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. And the reckless closeout that they actually review, and the foot still comes down on top of the defender's foot that wasn't upgraded? Absolutely disrespectful. We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again,
Pay attention to what she has to say. She describes it as outrageous and completely disrespectful. She brings up the incident from 2 nights ago, mentioning a different game in which Caitlin made a cheap shot. She discusses the careless closeout that was examined but not improved. We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called, she continues. All of it is true now. Throughout the season, Caitlin Clark has been the focus of physical play that frequently goes too far. When it comes to protecting her, the refereeing has been extremely inconsistent when compared to other league stars. Here's what makes this situation so annoying, though. Stephanie, for the whole season, White has refrained from mentioning Caitlin's name when she achieves something noteworthy. White provides typical team responses when Clark smashes records. White blames the system for Clark's remarkable performances. However, she is now prepared to refer to herself as a generational talent and a WNBA superstar when she needs to justify a defeat. The time is quite practical.
I mean, we spent all offseason looking at officiating. All offseason. And I still say the one thing that we keep asking for is consistency. She is not called the same way everybody else is called.
How long have we been saying that and you never acknowledged it or said nothing? We've been saying this. We've been saying this. You just now, welcome to the damn party. Finally.
The worst part is still to come. She is not referred to in the same manner as everyone else. Stephanie White has finally acknowledged what fans of this league have been yelling about for months. On drives without a whistle, Caitlin Clark gets pummeled. Without a call, she is grabbed off the ball. The referees swallow their whistles when she takes hits 10 times a game that would send other stars to the free throw line. White claims that she has been considering officiating over the off-season and has asked for consistency. That's fantastic, but why did she wait to tell TSN public? After the first 5 games of this pattern, why didn't she defend Caitlin? When the discrepancy was as apparent in November, why didn't she point it out? The explanation is straightforward. Caitlin Clark's treatment by the referees provided her with the ideal story to justify this defeat.
No, we were aware. We were supposed to use it. Yeah.
Did you attempt to call it and the referees didn't call it, or what was it, miscommunication? What happened?
I think it just didn't get called. It didn't get called. You know, that's something when we get the rebound, we secure the
I think it just didn't call. No, your ass forgot to call timeout. That is a coaching mishap. This is what I'm saying. She tried to use Caitlin Clark as a cover-up. You ain't never stood up for Caitlin for real, for real. When Caitlin Clark accomplishes things, you don't even want to say her name. You forgot to call timeout on the last play when y'all got the rebound. You forgot. That is a coaching mishap. She's trying to use Caitlin Clark as a cover-up, y'all. I'm not buying it.
Rebound, we call timeout. We got the rebound, and we're getting ready to call it.
The coaching error that truly reveals the purpose of this news conference comes next. The reporter inquires about the regulations last play. Indiana had a chance to win the game after grabbing the rebound. A timeout was available to them. A reset timeout would have allowed them to plan a play, position their top players, and make a winning shot. Stephanie White claims that even though she was about to call it, it didn't happen. Consider that. The head coach is you. Your group recently obtained a vital recovery. In your pocket is a timeout. You don't call the game when it's on the line. The referees are not responsible for that. Neither Alyssa Thomas nor the officiating team are responsible for that. That is your responsibility. That is a basic coaching error at the most critical moment in the game. Instead of owning up to that and saying, I should have been more aggressive getting the officials' attention, White ignores it for about 10 seconds before bringing up the free throw differential again. This explains why the press conference is so meticulously organized regarding the officiating. Stephanie White is correct. She is correct that Caitlin Clark receives different treatment than other celebrities. She is correct that the violent play against Clark frequently goes too far and that the throat push should have been called. All of those statements are accurate, but she is using them as an excuse for her own shortcomings as a coach in this particular game. Let's examine what truly transpired throughout this defeat. Caitlin Clark gets 13 points in the first quarter and leaves Connecticut's defense reeling. The Fever have total authority. The momentum then changes when White pulls Clark for a rest with 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. The Sun ran away. Without their main creator, Indiana's offense stagnates. They've lost the advantage they gained from her domination by the time Clark returns. The same pattern in the second quarter. Clark resumes cooking, making shots for both herself and other people before halftime. White pulls her once more while the offensive is humming. Kelsey Mitchell, meanwhile, spends nearly the whole first half on the field. Mitchell is a competent player now. Although she is a valuable member of the team, she is not Caitlin Clark. The player defenses are not trying to stop her. It wasn't she who scored 13 points in the first quarter. If winning the game is your main objective, then the rotation choice is absurd. In an attempt to regain control of the game, Clark acts aggressively once more in the third quarter. White benches her right away after she gets a turnover. For a long stretch rather than a brief respite. It conveys a clear message. Errors won't be accepted. Here's the problem with superstars, though. They must be allowed to make errors. They must know that their coach has faith in them to make mistakes and learn from them. Michael Jordan made mistakes. LeBron James's possessions are poor. Some of Stephen Curry's shots are unsuccessful.